Today we'll discuss the latest news about Bubba Wallace, Michael Jordan, and Denny Hamlin in 2021. The Circuits of America racetrack, looking at making a unique history with Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And the latest on NASCAR Silly season, all right here on Grid tonight. Hello everyone, welcome to Grid Tonight. Joe Samaniego here, along with Kobe Lambeth from the Podium Finish. We got a very exciting show for you today. We're going to talk a little bit about everything going on with NASCAR. Major news came out Monday, a lot to cover, as well as all around motorsports, including today a little bit of IndyCar news. But we'll first start with the NASCAR news that came out on Monday.
On Monday night, the big news everyone was waiting for finally hit the press. Yes, Bubba Wallace is indeed joining Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's racing team as their new driver. Michael Jordan is going to be the majority owner, and then Denny Hamlin is going to be the minority owner. And like Denny said, the decision was easy for them. Sign up Bubba Wallace to be his driver. And Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin were able to acquire the charter from the number 13 Germain Racing team. Joe, how significant is this deal? It's really crazy. Michael Jordan, the GOAT of basketball owner in NASCAR, before 2020, I never would have expected this in a million years.
Announced that with Michael Jordan joining and the Jordan brand saying there was no negotiation, no talks, I thought it was over. I thought, oh, it's not going to happen. So this really caught me by surprise. Especially we've heard the rumor come up and go away multiple times where we thought it's not going to happen. It might happen. We heard it might go with RPM. That didn't seem to go through. To hear this news on Monday, it really was a big surprise, I think, for a lot of people around motorsports industry, and definitely was just something where I think it's a very pleasant surprise and something that, as we all know, it has really put NASCAR on mainstream news for something really positive.
Yeah, this is certainly a big deal. I think having Michael Jordan as an owner in NASCAR is certainly going to bring new eyes on the sport, and certainly it's going to be great potential for NASCAR to get some new fans. So I'm certainly excited to see what Michael Jordan can bring to NASCAR. And you know, Joe, this isn't the first time a pro athlete from outside of NASCAR has come in, and most recently we had Hall of Fame racing with Troy Aikman and Roger Staubach from 2015 to 2010, and then we had Elliott Marino racing with Dan Marino and Bill Elliott in 1998. And then the Xfinity level, we've seen Brett Favre, Terry Bradshaw, and others. And also remember in the truck series, we had Randy Moss, NFL legendary wide receiver, have a truck team. I think Jimmy Johnson ran one race with him at Bristol. So with Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, what makes this deal different than all those others I mentioned?
Definitely, I think what's going to make the deal different is the timing of the deal occurring. Now, I know a lot of folks have been following NASCAR for a long time, and myself remembering Dan Marino joined together to bring a single car team. The big thing is where in those cases we had it where you had an athlete outside NASCAR coming in, investing in the sport. We didn't have a charter system. Now we do have a charter system. So yes, there's a little bit of an upfront purchase that you need to get that charter. But once you got that charter, you're now locked into races. You don't have to worry about missing a race, missing out on valuable prize money. So this makes it where for the team, they're sure they're going to be starting every race next season. That's something that didn't exist when we had all the other teams. For Michael Jordan, I feel he is definitely going to bring a new segment of fans that we haven't seen before. We're going to see communities that haven't been reached out by NASCAR in many ways before coming to NASCAR because they hear Michael Jordan is in NASCAR and he has a driver named Bubba Wallace. Just about everyone has heard of Bubba Wallace this year. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. Even if you haven't seen him play NBA basketball, you probably have his shoes. You know his Air Jordan brands. You recognize the name Michael Jordan somewhere. This is going to bring a new demographic of fans. It's really going to put the sport elevated up, and I think it's going to just really translate into success, especially teams seeing how much fans are going to bring and follow the new team owned by Michael Jordan, driven by Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of those fans, based on the comments I've seen on social media, they're very excited to show up to the track wearing the Jordan brand gear, and that's certainly very exciting to see. It's been a very long time since I've seen the fan base so excited about a certain team, and with Michael Jordan, he brings a lot of fanfare and excitement because everybody truly wants to be like Mike. And we've actually been seeing a lot of new fans come to NASCAR recently, especially after they banned the Confederate flag. And speaking of the Confederate flag, actually, I have a friend who didn't know anything about NASCAR, and as soon as the Confederate flag was banned, my friend told me, I was just say, Kobe, I want to come to the race. I want to know what NASCAR is all about. So it was just like really cool to see that once all of these changes started to occur, then we started seeing more people decide to watch NASCAR, and I think moving forward in the future, I believe the fan base is going to become just more and more diverse over time, and that's certainly what we want to see. NASCAR took a stand, and they're going towards inclusivity and accepting people from all walks of life. So 10, 15 years from now, I'm really excited to see what NASCAR is going to look like inside and out. And and with Michael Jordan being involved in NASCAR, how much does this boost NASCAR's image in the mainstream media?
This really boosts it very well. And I think besides just boosting their image in mainstream media, this gives, I feel, NASCAR more credibility when it comes to we are an inclusive, welcoming environment for everybody. We know after what happened in Minneapolis at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the president of NASCAR made that very important speech with all the cars parked along the front stretch. We saw how all teams rally around Bubba Wallace at Talladega after the news was found. I feel since then, NASCAR, we've seen, some issues going on going forward, and a lot of people starting to question, okay, how sincere is NASCAR with their cause of making it where everyone feels welcome? This, I think, really shows that Michael Jordan is investing his time, his money in NASCAR, owning a team in the top level. This really gives extra clout, and I think it really just makes it where people will see NASCAR as, all right, they are really serious. And even Michael Jordan said they are being serious about being more inclusive. And I think this really gives NASCAR a big, broader appeal, which they really need to attract new fans.
Yeah, and the other day when this news broke, so some people bringing up a good point. What Michael Jordan is one of the most influential people in the entire world, not just the sports world. Michael Jordan is a household name. You can ask literally anybody, like who Michael Jordan is, and everybody be able to tell you. And that might be really great for Bubba Wallace moving forward because if they're looking for more sponsorship down the road, and if Michael Jordan says, I want to come talk to you about sponsoring our team, he's Michael Jordan. You're going to want to sit down with Michael Jordan. It's not like you're gonna be like, if it was someone else and said, hey, I'm interested in you sponsoring our car, and then they're like, no, we're we're gonna go in another direction. But if Michael Jordan is on the phone, you're gonna pick up and you're gonna listen. So I feel like that Bubba Wallace being his driver, I think a lot of Bubba's sponsorship issues that he's had in the past is certainly not going to be around for the foreseeable future, because I think Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin are really committed to putting together a competitive program for Bubba, so he's able to show that he's capable of winning races and competing for championships. And when looking at all these new teams that had an athlete outside of motorsports in the ownership role, most of them have been a single car effort, like Hall of Fame racing and Elliott Marino racing. And with more and more technical alliances and satellite teams, and also the next gen car that's coming in 2022, is this a good time for a single car team to enter the NASCAR Cup Series?
It appears that it's a good time to start up a single car NASCAR team. Of course, late 90s, early 2000s, if you were competitive, you were part of a four-car team. I mean, we saw how Morgan McLaren Motorsports, they were a single car team. They went from very competitive, winning two Daytona 500s back to back years, to being back to the pack, to now where they're no longer in the sport. One of the big things, though, just because you have a technical alliance or you're a satellite team, it does not guarantee success. We have seen teams come and gone, unfortunately, such as Furniture Row Motorsports. Yes, with their technical lines with Toyota, Joe Gibbs Racing, they were really fast. They were really competitive. They even got a championship. But as soon as the sponsorship money left, they left. We got Wood Brothers Racing. They are in alliance with Penske. Penske, we're seeing all of their drivers have won this year. The Wood Brothers, they just seem to be a little step behind. Their last win was with Ryan Blaney back in Pocono. So this move, assuming that they're going to have all the support of Toyota and everything, it is still a huge risk. And I think that's one thing a lot of people are going to be following is this is such a big move to go from a brand new team building it up from the ground up essentially with Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, two new owners. You got Bubba Wallace there. He has a lot of experience with his recent years racing. It's still a big gamble. Yes, you're going to have the competitive cars, but still, any given Sunday, it's just a battle out there to win. And I think a lot of people are going to be really interested to see how this new team carries out in 2021.
It seems like a lot of these teams are really banking on the next gen car closing the performance gap because see Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, or now Denny Hamlin's a smart fellow, and so he sees the value in starting up a team now right before we head into the next gen era, and also got Justin Marks out there who's looking to start up a Cup team as well. Inspire Motorsports, when they purchased the Elder Charter from Levine Family Racing, they're going to become a 2-car operation next year, and it seems like they're trying to position themselves in the right place to be more competitive in the future. And it's certainly going to be interesting to see what the landscape looks like in the Cup Series moving forward, because having a charter is certainly a necessity. You want to be one of those 36 teams locked into every race. Yeah, I understand. The year started off tough for Gaunt Brothers Racing. Daniel Suarez, they're running full time, didn't have a charter, and ended up missing the Daytona 500 because of that. So I feel like if you're a new single car team to the Cup Series, you need to try your hardest to get a charter, or otherwise risk bad things happening like Daniel Suarez and Gaunt Brothers Racing found out at the very start of the season.
Yeah, that charter is very important for all the teams to have to be competitive and to be locked into every race. Now, one of the big things starting next year, of course, we've been talking about the new 2021 season. Well, it was reported on Monday prior to the big announcement from Bubba Wallace that the athletic reporters Jeff Gluck and Jordan Bianchi reported on a big change for the NASCAR schedule involving Texas Motor Speedway. Texas Motor Speedway is going to host the NASCAR All Star Race starting in 2021. And big part two, Texas Motor Speedway will not have 3 Cup Series dates with the addition of the All Star Race. One of those dates will be given to the Circuits of America in Austin, Texas, where we've seen the United States Grand Prix for Formula One. Now, of course, COTA hosting a NASCAR race is going to be brand new. They haven't done this before. And this was something where a lot of people weren't really talking about. We didn't hear silly rumors about it. Kobe, did this catch you by surprise?
Oh yeah, certainly. It really caught me off guard to see that COTA is potentially joining the schedule. Out of all of the road courses out there, I had no idea that COTA was in the running to receive a NASCAR Cup Series race. I thought COTA would potentially maybe get an Xfinity date or whatever, but not the NASCAR Cup Series. And I feel like schedules, we've had the same tracks for such a long time now, and a lot of people believe that the current schedule's been getting kind of stale, and NASCAR tried to mix things up by shifting the races around. And I think they did a really good job with that, especially with the playoffs this year. This next round of 12 for the Cup Series is going to be really crazy. You have a regular race in Vegas and 2 wild cards, Talladega and the Charlotte Roval. Yeah, so kudos to NASCAR on that. But but a lot of people certainly felt like that a schedule needed to have new tracks, shake everything up a bit. And yeah, like next year we're gonna have the Nashville Super Speedway, and now more than likely gonna have COTA join the schedule. I feel like it's certainly going to be very refreshing for everyone.
Very refreshing and just going to make it really interesting. Of course, looking at the map of Dakota Raceway, of course, there has been no official announcement from Circuits of America or NASCAR yet, but report from the Athletic, very likely that this could happen. And one of the big things with the Circuits of America, it can make some unique history. 2021, they're looking at having MotoGP, IndyCar, Formula One, and NASCAR all at the same venue in a 1 year. The last time any track had something similar to that was Indianapolis Motor Speedway when they hosted Formula One and IndyCar, as well as the NASCAR Brickyard 400 in the same year. But we're talking about in the early 2000s, so it's been a while since any track has been able to say they've done that. Does this elevate the Circus of America status as one of those must-see tracks like Daytona and Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, with COTA being a new road course on the 2021 schedule, and like you mentioned, it's really crazy that next year looks like COTA could be hosting NASCAR, IndyCar, MotoGP, and Formula One as well. A- and fans have been asking for more road courses to the schedule, and I feel like adding an additional one certainly gonna get them very excited. I know my boss, editor in chief, Rob Townsend at the podium finish is extremely excited about the addition of COTA because he's from Austin. Well, he's living in Austin, Texas right now, and if this news becomes official, I'm sure he's going to be there sitting in the media center.
Yeah, this is a really elevate COTA, I think, to a high level with those three tracks. The big thing, I think a lot of people sort of forget with the Circus of the Americas track, it is one of the newest tracks out there, and we're not seeing a whole lot of brand new racetracks being planned, especially on the level of the Circus of America. Of course, Circus of America, grade one for Formula One. It also hosts WEC events. It has done the supercar events. In fact, out of the 7 series in the grid ranking, COTA has hosted 4 right now. If they have NASCAR, that's the 5th one. So that makes it really unique, and I think it really adds COTA up there as it wouldn't be as big as the Daytona 500, Indianapolis 500. Not going to be as big as that, but definitely when it comes to race fans talking about which tracks you like to see, I feel this definitely cements COTA up there among the top 5, especially for a destination where you can see all those racing at some point throughout the year. That's just going to be huge for that track in Austin, Texas. Now, of course, with COTA, Texas Motor Speedway, they're hosting the All Star Race. A lot of talk about will the All Star Race rotate annually. Of course, Texas Motor Speedway, they have 2 Cup Series events, especially after Francis Fresco case. Now that we see the All Star Race at Texas Motor Speedway, that of course allows COTA to host a Cup Series race on the road course. Does this indicate that we might still see the All Star Race rotating around? And if that's the case, does that mean COTA might potentially just be a rotating track where we won't see annually, but probably every few years?
I certainly think it's a great idea if NASCAR decided to rotate the All Star Race around every single year. Yeah, yes, certainly a lot of people are excited when Bristol became the All Star Race this year when they decided not to host the All Star Race at Charlotte Motor Speedway like they've been doing what seems like forever now. I think a lot of people are getting like it's like we've done this so many times. It's time for a change, and I think if NASCAR truly wants to keep the All Star Race relevant, they need to try new things and go to different tracks every single year. I think it would be more exciting and make the All Star Race unique, something like they've been doing in recent years. Also, I know I've said it many times before, but the All Star Race is really like an experimental race. Just try around, experiment, and have fun. Like if the Texas does become the All Star Race next year on the oval, something I really like to see. Bring back 750 horsepower and low downforce so we can see those cars go down into turn one at 200 miles per hour. Yeah, and that's something we don't see at Texas nowadays with the 550 horsepower and higher downforce package. So I think that's certainly something that could get the fans really excited. As they like to say, big motor, small blade. I feel like that would really make a you know make fans more excited about the All Star race. Yeah, and also rotating around the short tracks won't hurt as well. And as for COTA, if it become a rotating track with all other road courses, I don't think that would necessarily be a bad thing. Like might go to COTA 2021, but in 2022 might switch it around and go to Road America, and then the next year might go to Road Atlanta, and then the next year might go to the Daytona Road Course, and then go back to COTA. I certainly think that could certainly be a way to go moving forward in the future.
Definitely, it could be a good way to go. NASCAR, a lot of times when they go to a track, They bring in the largest crowds, the largest attendance the track will see. We know Formula One has gotten over 100,000 fans at the Circus of America during the Grand Prix weekend. I think a lot of people will be following to see if NASCAR could top that, beat that level. It'll be really interesting to see. But the big thing, if they do rotate, so then they go to, say, Road America, Road Atlanta. I know up north, right here, just 40 minutes away from us, we got Portland International Raceway. They will bring huge crowds to whichever track they go. So this could be a big win for road courses throughout the United States if NASCAR, they may not be coming annually to your road course, but every 2 or 3 years they're stopping by. That's something where it's going to really be a big win for everyone across the board. For the track owners, of course, see some big crowds come out. And then, of course, for NASCAR, making the schedule a little bit different each and every year so it's not stale. And even, in fact, today, Formula One, Christian Horner from Red Bull suggests maybe Formula One looks into something similar with rotating track. So very interesting development. But that wasn't the only development on a very busy Monday for the NASCAR industry.
Yeah, it was very busy, and actually the news that broke on Monday morning, it broke very early, I believe, right before 8 a.m. I was waking up early that morning, and the news had already broke. I'm like, wow, I'm already behind. But anyways, on Monday morning, Ross Chastain was announced as the new driver of the number 42 Chip Ganassi Racing Chevrolet, and many were aware that Chip Ganassi actually made an offer to Bubba Wallace, but it was later rescinded. And others anticipated that Eric Jones might be an option at Ganassi, but ultimately Ross Chastain got the call. And looking at Ross Chastain, the watermelon farmer from Florida, he has experienced quite a journey in NASCAR, basically going from the back to the front in terms of equipment. And looking back in 2013, Ross Chastain got his first big break with Brad Keselowski Racing. He had some good races running part-time schedule, but unfortunately for him at the time, it didn't translate to a full-time ride or move into Team Penske's Xfinity program. And then later in 2015, he started overachieving in JD Motorsports equipment for the next several years. And in 2018, him overachieving for Johnny Davis's operation earned him an opportunity to drive a Chip Ganassi Racing Xfinity car in 3 races at Las Vegas, Darlington, and oh my gosh, what was the other? Oh, it was Richmond. Yeah, I almost forgot it right there. But and then in the Darlington race, is his first race with Chip Ganassi Racing Xfinity team. He crashed out with Cup driver Kevin Harvick, and Kevin Harvick wasn't happy after that, saying that Chastain would never drive competitive cars ever again, and that didn't really age well, obviously. And later on at Las Vegas, Ross Chastain went on to win his first career NASCAR Xfinity Series race with Chip Ganassi, and due to the run, he was supposed to run full time with the organization in Xfinity last year until DC Solar got in trouble with the feds. And as a result, Ross Chastain decided to compete for the NASCAR Truck Series Championship with Nice Motorsports last season and ended up finishing second. And and after that, he started running full time with Colic Racing this year, competing for the Xfinity Series Championship. And next year, he's going to step up to Cup full time and competitive, potentially race winning equipment at NASCAR's highest level. And considering all of the ups and downs of Ross Chastain's NASCAR career, is he finally ready for this opportunity to race for a competitive organization?
I do see him being ready to race for a competitive organization like Chip Ganassi Racing. A lot of times, especially when a driver, even when they're substituting, we know Ross Chastain substituted for Ryan Newman this year after Ryan Newman got hurt. Still, you're getting used to a car that was socially fitted for another driver. You know, you weren't the primary driver. So you're learning quickly negotiation on how to set up the car, trying to go with the crew chief over the setup during the race weekend. It puts you behind the ball. Now, in this situation, Ross Chastain has the entire winter once they start up to start working with the potential crew chief if they keep the same or bring a new crew chief. They're gonna be on the similar. They're gonna be preparing and getting ready for Daytona. And the big thing too, especially with this pandemic, we don't know what the situation is gonna be off season. So this might put them a little bit of level footing with everybody else. Everyone's limited to what they could do during the off season, and I think I anticipate some good strong results from them starting in 2021.
Yeah, looking at Ross Chastain's story, it's absolutely amazing because you don't really see a driver like Ross Chastain who went from driving equipment to that was towards the back of the field in mid pack, and now he's going to be driving the most competitive equipment that he's ever been in. It's certainly a success, one of the best success stories in NASCAR that I've seen in quite some time because Ross bet on himself. He chose those three races with Chip Ganassi Racing, put it all on the line and show what he had, and he ended up winning at Las Vegas and showing everyone that he was capable of winning in good equipment, and then he was going to run full time with Xfinity, and it just didn't work. It didn't work out for him. But after the DC Solar scandal happened, and then he was going to run with JD Motorsports last year and also Nice as well. And then the Truck Series program started going well, and then he started focusing on Truck Series. Had a great truck season. Won multiple races. Came up short winning the championship, and that led to an opportunity competing with Colic Racing this year, and now he's finally going to get to race for Chip Ganassi, but not in the Xfinity Series, in the NASCAR Cup Series. So I feel like that everything has certainly come full circle for Ross Chastain. And looking at other silly season news, the 14 car at Stewart Haas Racing hasn't still been confirmed yet. But Greg Zipadelli did say that he expected no changes, but we're just gonna have to wait and see there because things change quickly in the world of motorsports. And some of the other teams that haven't announced their plans there are the number 21 with the Wood brothers. By the end of the month, they're supposed to decide whether or not they're going to exercise Matt DiBenedetto's option on his contract, or could Austin Cindric in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, could he be moving the Cup next year? And then Go Fast Racing number 32, they haven't announced anything yet. Corey LaJoie is not returning. And then Front Row Motorsports could have an opening as well. And then the number 37 at JTG Daugherty Racing could be for sale as well, especially since Ryan Preece hasn't really had a great season. And obviously 43, Richard Petty Motorsports is going to be open too, since Bubba Wallace is going to be racing for Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. And then the biggest rider of all, the 48, who's going to replace Jimmy Johnson, we still don't know yet, but certainly a lot of people are going to be waiting for that news to drop. And there's a rumor that Rick Hendrick could shuffle up the lineup, moving Alex Bowman over to the 48 with Allied sponsorship, and potentially bringing in Kyle Larson in the 88. And after analyzing all of these rides that could be open in the silly season changes that have happened so far, where does this leave drivers such as Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon, and many others? It seems like somebody might be left out. Are one of those drivers going to be forced down to go to Xfinity or even trucks?
It does appear that one of those drivers might end up in Xfinity level, truck level, or even just part time. It's going to be really hard. I mean, we anticipated, essentially looking at Bubba Wallace going with, a new team or the 42 or the 48. Well, he's with the new team. The 42, I don't think a lot of people anticipated that for Ross Chastain to grab it. Of course, hindsight, it makes sense, but it wasn't really being discussed a lot when it was going on. So it's going to be something where for a lot of these drivers, the next few weeks is just a great opportunity to try to make a case that you are worthy of a new ride with that full-time team. The big thing, there's going to be more quality rides taken. So you're looking at teams where RPM's team, they are getting better and better every week. Bubba has done a lot to help that team. Whoever's going to be there, I think as long as they set realistic goals that, okay, let's try to get top 20s, top 10s, and then start going for wins, they're going to be successful. The big thing is going to come down to sponsorship and who is able to bring something to that team.
Yeah, certainly. Looking at Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Ty Dillon, and all the others, the Corey LaJoie, it certainly seems like with considering all of the rides that are available, that somebody might get caught out. And actually going back down to the Xfinity Series might not be a bad thing. It gives them a chance to have a fresh start and to reset their career. Ross Chastain, he's going to be leaving the number 10 ride wide open, and that could certainly be a place for one of those drivers to go and try to reset their career. So so the goal would be to have a great 2021 season Xfinity Series. Realistically, try to win the championship, and then 2022, when the new era starts, can start off with the next gen car with a competitive organization and show that you belong in the Cup Series. But yeah, and certainly if you go down the Xfinity again, it's certainly not the end of the world. And I feel like that some of those drivers could certainly benefit to go find a competitive Xfinity ride. Be like, hey, my first stint in the Cup Series didn't really go so well, but I'm gonna go to Xfinity and show that I still have the talent. I feel like that. Yeah, Colic Racing said that they want to run 3 full-time cars next year and 1 part-time one. So Colic Racing is certainly open for business.
Definitely, it could definitely be a good home for somebody in the Cup Series currently looking for something next year. Of course, there's reports of, that might be going on right now. It's definitely going to be really interesting to see what all turns out. And one of the big things, this was a very busy weekend for the Grid World Motorsport League. The World Motorsport League, of course, ranks drivers from all the disciplines across motorsports. And taking a look at the top 10 so far in the Grid Motorsport World Motorsport League, Bill Hansen currently is the leader over Lewis Hamilton, Felipe Albuquerque. They make up your top 3. The big thing, of course, is with the 24 Hours of Le Mans, a lot more drivers are now scored in the Grid World Motorsport League. The only series that hasn't been scored yet is the FIA World Touring Car Championship. It has 1 race left to run. To be scored in the World Motorsport League, a series does have to run at least 5 races, or the driver run 5 races during the current year. Now, Phil Hansen, he's really young. He's only 21 years old, and he's leading the World Motorsport League, standing big accomplishment, especially since he's ahead of Lewis Hamilton, who is currently in 2nd place. We definitely encourage everyone to follow the World Motorsport League on grid_WML on Twitter. And of course, you can visit our website, gridranking.com. There we have a link to all our social media accounts where you can find the World Motorsport League and all our platforms that we use to bring you motorsports coverage.
Yeah, you guys definitely want to check out the World Motorsport League. Definitely some exciting stuff over there with Matt White. And now we're gonna look at some news that took shape on Monday afternoon on social media when a clip was circulating from the Deegan's podcast. In the clip, Brian and Haley Deegan discussed the pandemic and what appeared to be Haley Deegan's voice. It certainly sounded like her blurted out the words flu and hoax. And a lot of criticism was directed at Haley for the comment and some of her recent actions on social media. Joe, do you think this was a situation where Haley Deegan crossed the line? And at what point should personal views be criticized?
Yeah, she did cross a line. We know the virus is not a hoax. President Trump has said it. All levels of government are dealing with this virus. We've seen multiple racing drivers, including Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon, in the NASCAR community, got the virus. Thankfully, they recovered. And of course, we all know the toll is taken on the country and globally. It's just so disrespectful to say that, especially when you had people like Jimmy Johnson, Austin Dillon within the motorsports community get the virus. Of course, we know there's been many families that have been unfortunately experienced someone passing away because of this virus. To say it's a hoax, can you imagine somebody was to say 9/11, the September 11th attacks was a hoax? 3,000 people died that day. We know the virus has taken a lot of lives, unfortunately. And this is just something where it's one thing for a personal opinion about different methods, ideas, or products. If Haley Deegan had said, slam a competitor's energy drink harshly, yeah, some people would probably criticize her for being harsh, but let's be honest, Monster Energy will be saying, hey, that's her character, and that energy drink, our competitor's energy drink, is not good. Go with Monster Energy. But this is different. This is something where it's taking a toll globally. Everyone's feeling the ramifications from it. And I wouldn't be surprised if already a sponsor, a close friend, or somebody has gotten in touch with Haley Deegan about this situation.
Yeah, many have certainly expressed frustration with some of her recent actions online, and one notable one was a post on Instagram when she was talking about her car being covered in ash. But however, at the time, people were really having a lot of issues with the wildfires out there. So a lot of people really thought that was insensitive by her to be so more worried about people. I mean, more worried about her car than people who had lost everything or their lives in the horrible wildfires on the West Coast. Do you think that this is a great time for someone to step in, whether it's sponsor, NASCAR, close family, friend, mentor, and discuss with her about her role and image she portrays?
Yes, definitely. Especially NASCAR, they see her as a potential star. A lot of people want to see her succeed. I want to see her succeed as well. I think she has a lot of potential to be a big influence on bringing new fans into motorsports. Driving the Cup Series and the pro levels, usually they take a bad situation and make it better. A very good example this year, Michael McDowell and Bubba Wallace. They had that altercation at the All Star Race. Bubba left the front bumper, and Michael McDowell, what did they do? Charity auction. The two of them raised money for a really good cause, raising awareness for charities, foundations, and causes. That was a missed opportunity by Halen with the West Coast fires. Could have easily, asked people to keep everyone in their thoughts and prayers. And for the West Coast, mention about the Red Cross, which is helping a lot of folks in in the West Coast. If I was NASCAR or playing somebody, I would talk to her because you want her to portray a positive image. You don't want her to change her personality too much. A lot of people see her as aggressive, tough, she fits that Monster Energy brand. But definitely, if she could also, show a side where it's like, hey, race fans, let's all rally around, help out these people, let's raise money for these charities. She will go a really long way and be a really bright spot for NASCAR, for her sponsor. And I still think, despite these missed opportunities, if someone could reach out to her, she could still make the best of everything.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Everybody knows that Taylor Deegan's young, aggressive on the racetrack, and very talented. She certainly has a lot of potential to make it far in NASCAR. I just feel like that this is a time where someone really needs to step in and just talk to her, one on one, and show her why you can't why in her position you can't really say all of these things because it can certainly get you in trouble, and it might make things harder for you moving forward. But yeah, but for Haley's sake, hopefully that all of these little incidents on social media recently is going to be a learning experience. And yeah, we certainly all make mistakes, but and I do feel like we all deserve a chance to correct those mistakes. And after seeing some of the comments online by people, seeing like Haley Deegan certainly lost a lot of support, but moving forward, yeah, you can't change what happened, but you can certainly change the direction that you're heading in the future. And Haley did race this past weekend. We're going to report on her race results tomorrow on our Grid Girls program, along with a Le Mans recap of the 6 women that raced in LMP2 and GTEM. And also going to have a special guest, Erin Vogel, will join us to discuss her racing season so far. And we're definitely going to encourage everyone to watch and participate in the chat tomorrow afternoon.
Definitely, we encourage everyone to join us for tomorrow's program as well. And it's going to be, I think, a lot of fun. Highly encouraged. First time we're going to have a race car driver on our program. We're super excited about that. Now, IndyCar, we mentioned a little bit earlier today. Big news. Zach Feach, he is no longer driving for Andretti Autosport. It was announced today that Zach Feach has essentially left the team. The two teams have agreed to part ways effective immediately, which is a little bit of a surprise, knowing that testing is a limit during the times of this pandemic situation. It was imperative for the team to start looking for a replacement driver for the number 26 Gamebridge Honda and try to hopefully have that replacement driver participate in the last 3 races of the season for the IndyCar Series. Now, of course, the IndyCar Series are racing at Indianapolis, the Harvest Grand Prix doubleheader, and St. Pete's, which is the season finale. Normally, is of course the first race of the season. Been surprised to see, that Zach Feach will not be on the racetrack. It's been a long time since I can recall a driver stepping away or a team and a driver essentially agreeing to separate prior to the end of a season. But you look at Zach Veach's stats, especially this year, he's 20th in the points. Pretty disappointing season, especially he had a good opening race at Texas Motor Speedway. He got 4th place, the highest finishing and Andretti Autosport, but it just seems that team was a miss, wasn't able to get anything else going. Kobe, who are some of the candidates you see to replace Zach Veach?
Honestly, I think James Hinchcliffe is certainly the most likely candidate right now. Plays that beat. He's already been in the organization this year, and it just seemed like that would be easiest to plug James Hinchcliffe in the number 26 Gamebridge Honda, because James Hinchcliffe's been working really hard to try to return to the IndyCar grid full time, and it would certainly not surprise me if he's going to be the permanent replacement in that seat.
Yeah, it won't be a big surprise for me either if I see we got a news update that James Hinchcliffe is going to be taking over that ride. He's definitely done some races this year, looked really good at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be on the podium at the Harvest Grand Prix. He does really run well, especially on the road course, and I think there's a lot of potential for him and Andretti Autosports. Now it's time for some quick takes. And starting with quick takes, Sage Karen will be driving the number 24 Dry Reinbold car at the Harvest Grand Prix. Oil to Soil is an environmentally friendly absorbent for oil cleanup. They will be sponsoring the car for both races that weekend. So that helped make essentially the deal come together to allow Sage Karen the opportunity to race. The last race Sage Karen raced was the Indianapolis 500.
There were 3 positive COVID-19 tests at Le Mans within the Porsche camp, which ultimately led to Porsche withdrawing its factory drivers from the upcoming 24 Hours of Nürburgring, and also Porsche ended up withdrawing from this weekend's IMSA race at Mid Ohio, which reduced the entry list to 25. But however, the factory Porsche team is expected to return for the next IMSA race on October 10th at the Charlotte Roval, and also Scuderia Corsa withdrew as well from Mid Ohio, dropping the field down to 24 cars because driver Cooper McNeil decided to focus on the Ferrari Challenge Championship at Laguna Seca.
The Australian Supercar Series is down to the final 4 races of the year, 3 this weekend, and then of course the Bathurst 1000. With that said, the top 5 are still mathematically eligible for the championship. Scott McLaughlin, he is looking for his 3rd straight Australian Supercar Series championship. The big thing, of course, if he could try to have a bigger lead than 300 points entering Bathurst 1000, he could have the championship wrapped up, but still the top 5 all have opportunity. We're going to talk more about that on Grid Life pre-race.
We had a big press conference this morning on Zoom. It was Acura Motorsports confirming its 2021 DPI plans. Wayne Taylor Racing and Meyer Shank Racing each will be fielding an Acura DPI next year on a multi-year deal. And I was in the Zoom press conference, and Wayne Taylor said that he's looking forward to the new partnership and working alongside Michael Shank's team. And with the switch to Acura, Wayne Taylor Racing is going to be leaving General Motors family, and Taylor thanked General Motors for all of its support over the years with the Corvette DP and Cadillac DPI programs, and certainly very excited about the new chapter at Wayne Taylor Racing with Acura. And the switch to Acura probably means we won't see Kamui Kobayashi return to the team next season. Kobayashi is a factory driver for HPD rival Toyota in the World Endurance Championship, and Kobayashi won the Rolex 24 at Daytona the last 2 years with Wayne Taylor Racing. And Michael Shank said it was one of the biggest days for his organization. And when asked if Meyer Shank Racing would consider running a DPI driver in the Indy 500, Shank answered, "Everything is possible." However, the Acura NSX GTD program is currently running won't return next year, with the team focusing on the Acura DPI and IndyCar program, Jack Harvey. And then Tech Klaus, president of HBD, did not confirm a future LMDH program, but they seem to be very interested in the new formula. And Wayne Taylor even said he really wants to go to Le Mans and win overall someday with his Wayne Taylor Racing team if the cards fall into place. And Michael Shank said he would love to do it and mentioned the experience he had back in 2016 when his team finished 9th in the LMP2 class with Oz Negri, John Pugh, and Lawrence Van Thor.
Formula E released information on Monday that they are the first sport to be net zero carbon. Third-party ISO 20121 certified for sustainable events certified Formula E for their accomplishment of being net zero when it comes to carbon. Following this news, Formula E did release more information on how they are following the recommended approach set up by the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. The next season of Formula E is scheduled to start on January.
Former Ferrari team principal Stefano Domenicali is set to become the new CEO of Formula One. The agreement is still to be finalized with Domenicali over the role. And Chase Carey, current CEO, is set to remain involved in F1 beyond the end of the year, but in a revised position. And Domenicali was the first team principal of Ferrari in F1. He was the team principal of Ferrari in F1 between 2008 and 2014.
Lewis Hamilton was named Time Magazine 100 Most Influential People of this year. The profile of Lewis Hamilton was written by Bubba Wallace, the only black driver in the American NASCAR Racing Cup Series. Wallace said Hamilton's successful presence in Formula One was a totem for black people. He shows we're out there doing things, what Wallace wrote. Hamilton, of course, has 90 career Formula One wins, on track to tie Michael Schumacher with 7 championships. The race for Formula One is this weekend at the Russian Grand Prix.
Gerard Neveu will step down as CEO of Le Mans Endurance Management, organizers of the FIA World Endurance Championship and the European Le Mans Series. Neveu has been at the helm of the WEC since his inaugural season, and Neveu will pressure new challenges ahead, and there's been no word on any new management released yet.
MotoGP defending champion Marc Marquez said he expected more from Fabio Quartararo this year. The injured MotoGP rider is out till the end of November. Entering the race at Austria, he really thought Fabio and Andrea Dovizioso at Ducati will have a big battle for the championship. While Dovizioso has been consistent but doesn't seem to have the speed, Quartararo has since then lost form and lost the points lead. When asked about this, Marc Marquez really said he doesn't know what's going on, but it seems like with Quartararo, he is not performing